So let's say you want to go to MIT or Oxford or Rice or Cambridge. What do you do? What's the process? How do you go about it? How do you start preparing? Well, first you start preparing from birth, right? When you're born, you start thinking about it. Your parents need to inspire you. But here's 3 stacks of books I want to encourage you to read, or at least they have somewhere near you if you're going to attend any of the top universities in the world. The first stack just has to do with my brief introduction. My name is Amos Tarfa, or Amos the Math Guy. I've written a book called Tools for Mastering Mathematics, which will give you the tools to go to those colleges. It also comes with a connection to my curriculum called Counting to Calculus, which takes you from basic math, and I inspire you all the way to calculus as quick as possible. I mean, if you do calculus in 10th grade, I won't be disappointed, but I'm willing to help you to get there by 9th grade. That's my preference. Do Calc 1, Calc 2, Calc 3, differential equations, linear algebra. Get that all done before you go to college. And that's why Amos the Math Guy is here. Now, we're going to talk about the second stack of books that you should consider if you want to go to any of these schools. Before you go to Oxford, Cambridge, MIT, it would make sense to have a career plan. Career planning for teens. I have a course that teaches you about different professions. I also have a book that I use as a guide, as an extra resource. Do you want to become an astronomer? Do you want to become a physicist? I am a medical physicist by training. I'll talk a little bit about that in a different video. But if you want to go to Oxford, Cambridge, MIT, it makes sense to have a vision and direction. And that's part of what I want to encourage you to do. I also want to encourage you to read a book called A Good Return by Dr. John Lennox, a mathematician out of Oxford University, Professor Emeritus. So you should have a direction. So first, if you want to go to Oxford, Cambridge, MIT, any of these places, you're going big. That's good. You're thinking big. Well, the next thing you need to do is have a plan. What are you going to study in any of these colleges? How do you find out what you're going to study? Well, one of the best ways to do that is job shadowing. Try and shadow people and see what they do for work. That's one way to do it. So that is the second step. So first you need to decide. Then you need to decide what your career or major is. So that's what I would encourage you to do. What is the career field you want to explore? Job shadow. Things like that will really help. Third, after you decide that you want to go to MIT and you know what you want to do, you want to go to Cambridge and you know what you want to do, then you need to have the right study skills. And you need to be able to persevere through difficult times. See, if you want to go to these schools, you have to have the right view of life. You have to have margin. And this is a book by Tom Ziglar, the son of Zig Ziglar. Zig Ziglar's book is You Can Reach the Top, and then Tom Ziglar's book is Choose to Win. These books will teach you how to have the right mindset as you approach going to MIT, Harvard, Princeton, Yale, in terms of rigor and being able to fight against the things that might be challenges along the way. And this is called Go Big from Dude Perfect. You get these books to help you keep flying even when the difficult days come. So first you have to make a decision. Where do I want to go to college and how is it tied to the career that I want to get into? Then you need to have the right mindset. That's very important, and these books will give you the right mindset. Okay, we've talked about 3 things to keep in mind. Next, how do you get to MIT, Harvard, Princeton? What kind of study skills should you have? I have a stack of books for you. These are a few books that will help you. This is in addition to my book, Tools for Mastering Mathematics, which will show you more specifics on how to excel in math and science. But these are some resources you really should have if you want to go to MIT, Harvard, Princeton, Oxford, and Cambridge. Why do we need these books? The first one is called Peak by Anders Ericsson. It says how all of us can achieve extraordinary things. He talks about deliberate practice. He's the one that we talk about when we talk about the 10,000 hour rule. Dr. Anders Ericsson knows what he's talking about. Number 2, unfortunately, he passed away a few years ago. But number 2, Carl Newport, How to Be a High School Superstar, a revolutionary plan to get into college by standing out without burning out. That would help you greatly. Number 3, learning how to learn. You need to know how to learn. Number 4, you need to have margin. Dr. Richard Swenson, you got to have margin. Number 5, the math fixed. You need to understand that the math curriculum is broken. And then we have Leonard Euler's book, Leonard Euler, the master of us all. Why do I put Leonard Euler into this mix? Before I tell you, I'm going to tell you about this Math Study Skills Workbook, which is a great resource. And lastly, Journey Through Genius, which tells you about the great theorems of mathematics. If you're going to MIT, Harvard, Princeton, Yale, Oxford, Cambridge, you really should consider reading these books or having them in your library, ready to access. Now, what is the last category of books you need if you want to go to any of these schools? This last category will help you no matter what you face, because it will teach you through examples and stories of people that went through difficult times in life. Now, everybody has gone through difficult times in one way or the other in life. It's just part of the fall. We see from Genesis, people suffer, and that's just a part of life. But could you maybe learn stories that will resonate with you when you face some very difficult situations? That's where this last category comes in. We have Maverick from Dr. Thomas Sowell. We have the Wright brothers from David McCullough. We have Theodore Roosevelt's story, Mornings on Horseback from David McCullough. We have Up from Slavery from Booker T. Washington. And we can go on and on and on. We have William Carey, George Washington Carver, Johannes Kepler, Mary Slessor, R.G. Letourneau. Letourneau University is named after him, a wonderful university in Longview, Texas. James Clerk Maxwell, Michael Faraday, Vodi Barkam's book, Fault Lines, which will talk about more of the ideologies that you might face in college. And then 2084, which is a book by Dr. John Lennox on artificial intelligence. I do have one last book here that I want to highlight called Diamonds in the Sand, and that's by David Freeman. He's from England, and it's important that when you are helping your kids to, parents, if you're helping your kids to navigate going to some of these colleges, that they have wisdom. And that's part of what I love about David Freeman's writings and his teaching. We need children to have wisdom. Our children reading books that talk about wisdom, right? That is very important. Because sometimes students end up in these colleges and they start making decisions that are not right. So you want to make sure that your children are making decisions that are right and honoring to the Lord. I'll leave you with a few bonus books, and that's basically just Dr. John Lennox, Erwin Lutzer, and a few other books there that talk about just how to live. We need to encourage our students to know how to live when they end up at Harvard, Princeton, Cambridge, wherever they might go, right? If you want to go to one of those places. Make sure you have a vision for life. Make sure you know where you're going. Make sure you read books that teach you how to learn. Make sure that you understand, biographies and how they can help you to flourish even when difficult times come. When you realize that some of the best lawyers in America have dyslexia, that's an interesting fact. When you realize that Theodore Roosevelt lost his mother and his wife on the same day, that's tough. And he ended up becoming the president of the United States. When you realize that Abraham Lincoln had some setbacks, you then will realize when you face setbacks, you don't have to let them define you. So, those are some books for you to consider if you want to go to MIT, Princeton, Yale, Harvard. And I'm here to help as well. Reach out to amosthemathguy@gmail.com, amosthemathguy@gmail.com, and I would love to help you study mathematics all the way to the level that gets you into these colleges. Have a blessed day.